Is Teacher Tony Mwenda. I'm the class teacher grade 7 red, also the dance club patron. And I'm happy to see you here today. I'm going to take you through the learning areas for grades 7 and 8. Now, when you look at your screens, you will be able to see that we have the previous learning areas that were in the previous year. So there were 17 in number. So we had mathematics, English, Kiswahili, there was integrated science, agriculture, social studies, health education, physical education, there was the pre-technical studies. We also had CRE and life skills. Then there were optional subjects. They are the ones that you can see down there and in a different color. So that was the performing arts, the computer studies, French, home science, and the visual arts. So these are all the learning areas that were there in the previous year. So we'll move on to the current or the rationalized subjects that were released by the Ministry of Education. So you realize that some subjects were merged, meaning that two subjects or three were put together to form one subject. So we are going to look at all these subjects. So the learning areas came all the way from 17 to 9 learning areas. That is after they were merged. So I'll take you through the subjects that were not merged first. So we had mathematics, English, Kiswahili, and the CRE or the religious education. So these are the 4 subjects that were not merged. So hizi ziko peke yake. Sawa sawa. Sawa sawa wazazi. Okay. Next we'll go to the subjects that were merged, and we'll also look at which subject was merged with which subject. So we have the integrated science, which was merged with the health education to form one subject, which is now referred to as the integrated science, together with health education. Then we have social studies. So social studies was merged with life skills education to form one subject, which is now referred to as social studies. So social studies is a combination of the life skills and social studies. Then we have agriculture and nutrition, which is a combination of agriculture and home science to form the subject agriculture and nutrition. Then we have the visual arts. So the visual arts, we have 3 subjects that were put together. We have the visual arts itself, there is a performing arts, and we have the sports. That is a physical health education, which is now referred to as a sports. So those 3 subjects were merged to form one subject, which is a visual arts. So. Then we have the pre-technical studies. For the pre-technical studies, we also have 3 subjects that were merged to form one subject, which is a pre-technical studies. So in the pre-technical studies, we have one subject which is a business studies, together with the computer studies and the pre-technical studies itself. So that is how the subjects were merged. And now I know you might be wondering how, like, let's say the visual arts, we have the visual arts itself, which is the art part, the performing arts, which is the music part, then for the sport, which is for the physical health education part. Now, this is how we go about integrating all these learning areas in the lesson. So, let's say we start with the sports part. We can go to the field. Let's say we are learning about volleyball. So before we start the game of volleyball, we can start with a warm-up. The learners can sing a fun song that they are going to warm up with in readiness for play. So the performing art or the music part of it has been dealt with. Then when we get back to class, the skills that we'll have demonstrated in the field, you can tell a learner, go and draw a human form performing this skill. And that is where now the art part of it now comes in. So we are now working with these 9 subjects. So when we get to our other learning areas, so you'll find that in mathematics, there's all the way from grade 6 going up, there are some subjects that, or rather some substrands and strands that are going to go on building up as the learner goes all the way to grade 8. So they also learn about time, that is in measurement, time, length, finding the volume, temperature, all that is in mathematics. When we come to the languages, we expect the learners to be able to first communicate in English and Kiswahili. So the learners are taught on how to form proper sentence structures that are grammatically correct, both in English and Kiswahili. And when it comes to writing, we also do our best and emphasize on neatness, especially in the compositions and the initials. And we also encourage them to do lots of practice so that they're able to communicate and express themselves well. So when we come to the pre-technical part of it, the pre-technical studies, the learners are taught on various ways to keep safe while working in any working environment. They're also taught on other tools that are found at home, at school, and in various workplaces. They are also taught about various careers that are related to these jobs. So you'll find that if all the way from grade 7, 8, and 9, the learners are introduced to various careers, so that by the time the learner gets to the senior school, the learner has already explored his or her talents and abilities. And that is where you find that the content is broad, not to tire the learner, but so that they can ensure that they get to touch on each learner's abilities, interests, and can also be able to identify some of the talents that these learners have. So it's always good that we encourage our learners to keep doing a lot of practice and reading of books, because some of the subjects here, it really needs the learner to keep updating him or herself or what they've learned during the lesson. So when it comes to social studies and the life skills, you'll find that there is the history part of it, the geography part of it, and there is the citizenship part of it, whereby the learners are taught so much about what happened in history. We find they are learning about the solar system, the evolution of man, various communities, their political development. So there is so much history that is in these subjects, especially for social studies. Now for the life skills, we aim at ensuring that a learner not only learns what is in the book, but we also mold that good character that you would like to see in your daughter or son, so that in future they are going to become great citizens even in the society. So we encourage these learners, and we also teach them on how to handle themselves when they face a problem, how to tackle issues, and also we teach them on how to manage stress in case they are under stress. How are they going to be able to manage it? How are they going to relate with one another? So you'll find all that in the life skills. So for the agriculture and the home science, it's good for that our learners are able to know what they eat comes from. And I think the best way for them to do that is through practice and doing. So the moment they come home and decide, or they ask you, Mom, Dad, where can I start establishing my kitchen garden? They want to practice what they've learned in the agriculture, so that, and then for the home science, you find that where ikiraruka ataweza kujishonea, hata kuita mam nishonee. They are going to be able to even cook for you something the moment they come home. Since in home science they are taught about all the nutrients that are needed in a balanced diet. So you find that they are able to know which foods are healthy for them and which foods are not healthy for them. And it's always good that we encourage them to eat healthy. So these are some of the topics that you find when you get to the home science bit. So that was all I had for you. Thank you for listening to me.